Allison Rosen. Allison Rosen is your new best friend. Allison, with her good times never end. Allison Rosen, doing the wavy pencil dance again. Allison's your new best friend.
Hey everyone. Hi, hello. Welcome to another exciting episode of Allison Rosen is your new best friend. I am sitting here in my studio with someone that I have wanted to have on the show for a long time. It's comic, writer, actor, director, the man behind the bowling phenomenon, the comedic bowling phenomenon with so many jokes. It's more joke than not joke.
That's true.
It's Yassir Lester. Please put your hands together for Yassir Lester.
Thank you.
Hello. Welcome. I need to start by saying,
okay.
Normally, my producer, Tony, would be here.
Yes.
And you would hear, oh, you know him.
Well, you know what's weird is that, like, I don't think we've ever met face to face, but my best friend in the world has the exact same last name. So when I came across Tony, I know, but Tony's with an X. My friend is with a CKS. So I'm trying to figure out where along the I don't know, English channel, wherever.
That's where they substitute consonants.
Yeah. Where they started changing the spelling.
Right.
Yeah. So anyway, so I've always known about him, which is it's really weird to know someone by their last name. But also, I mean, clearly the world and industry and blah, blah, blah. Yeah.
I wonder if Thax with an X knows about your Thaxton. What's the first name?
Chris Thaxton.
What does he do?
He works at Wells Fargo in Georgia. So, I mean...
They're practically twins.
I was going to say, it would actually be weird.
Right.
If he knew. Yeah. Like, because I'm exposed to the last name. But, like, I mean, I guess, I don't know. People are we're also curious.
And we're also connected these days.
Yeah, you know, so maybe they might know.
There's tons of Allison Rosens that I know, and we all get each other's email, and we spell Allison a variety of ways.
Okay, do you feel like you're an OG Allison Rosen? Like, do you feel like you're one of the first?
Like, I feel like I deserve to have the most basic name on Gmail? Yes.
Yes, like
the one who has it isn't even going by Rosen. But she's very nice. If you're listening, I love you.
I'll say, like, in a world where I'm going to be real. Like, I've heard the name Allison Rosen before, but like you clearly have.
I win.
You have the biggest public profile, so it's like you should talk to Google and be like, hey,
right,
for security,
for
security reasons only, I actually need Allison Rosen at gmail.com and all. Variations of.
Yes. In the same way that my website is AllisonRosen.com.
Right.
Thank God I snagged that.
Right.
I don't mean to suggest it's like some kind of arms race between me and the fellow Allisons Rosen.
Right.
But that is what I'm saying.
Right.
But I, locked down back when I felt like this show was really going to be something. Now I'm sort of like, just doing what I'm doing. But
the show rules. We all know that. We're not playing this game.
Am I dry bagging? It's a term I just
but
learned.
like, I mean, like, you also can't downplay it.
Right.
Like,
I can. But I hear what you're saying. Thank you. But anyway, like, because I have, Allison Rosen is your new best friend.com, AllisonRosenShow.com. I just wanted to park all of them. I think you're saying I should have all the Allison Rosen iteration emails, and I agree.
I think. And I think that, like, not only should they give them to you, but you should be able to sell them at your discretion.
Yes. Like someone in Monopoly. Monopoly on the name is what I need.
Yes.
So, thank you. What I was going to say about old Thax with an X is normally he would be here.
Yes.
He would be playing the theme song.
Yes.
He would be playing a clapping sound when I introduced you.
Yep.
And there would be tons of jingles and whatnot. And there are going to be tons of jingles. I'm realizing as I say this that the audience heard them all in the proper place. So now I'm revealing a little peek behind the curtain. But you're not hearing them. So what I want to say to you is, if at any point you're like, this experience is not living up to what I expected, this show seems just, if there's any low points, it's Tony's fault.
Okay. Which here's the thing, and can I say this as
you're being real.
Being real, male feminism, me, Justin Baldoni, the only real ones left. I think that as a man, he's trying to tank your show.
Because he's threatened?
I think look, I can't speak to his male fragility and why he's doing this, but I do think that's where blame goes.
I think you're right.
Yeah.
So we can't let him.
No. So
Tony, we see you.
And you're fired.
And you're fired. Wow.
Yeah.
I didn't expect it to go that way, but
look, I do like in a world of like, I mean, the worst political version of this country that's existed in a very long time. Or the most outwardly facing, whatever you want to call it. I think that we're kind of lawless right now. And if you want to fire Tony, you can just fire Tony.
You know, speaking of this political moment we're in.
Yeah.
I used to, Tony and I, we like to joke.
Yeah.
I mean, if you were here, you'd see the dynamic. Oh my God. Are we brother, sister? What's going on?
Like, no, I know. Come on.
Yeah.
You act like I don't listen. Come on. Come
on. But I used to joke with him a lot, and I would say, "You're fired."
Right.
And then I had a dark night of the soul where I was like, this is Trump's catchphrase from The Apprentice. I have to never say it again.
Yeah.
So I would have to say, like, Tony, find employment elsewhere.
Oh, I like that. Do you know who Bernard Arnault, I believe is how you say his name.
No.
He's the head of LVMH, which is like the luxury. It's the
Louis
corporate,
Vuitton.
Yes, it's like Louis Vuitton. It's like Chandon wine. Like it's 90 luxury brands. But he laid off everyone and told them they had been outwardly employed. Which I was like, again, like the amount of sociopathy you have to have in your head to be like, not only am I going to fire them, but then confuse you. Yes, I'm going to spit on their graves as I do. It's so crazy to me. Like, I'd rather, anyone just be like, you're fired. I hate you. Like, burn in hell. Then be like, no, this is actually an opportunity for you. And it's like, it's not. It's actually not an opportunity for me. Like, this is about to be very hard for me.
Yes.
And they're like, yeah, but doesn't
outwardly
hardship
employed
build? Like, it's so crazy.
No, that's just gaslighting.
Yes.
That's just
yes.
How do you feel about, do you remember conscious uncoupling?
Yeah. So can I do think we live in, like, I think I keep saying we live in. So how about this? We just have too much access to people's brains, right? Like,
were you going to say we live in too many people's brains?
Well, I was going to say we live in a time of.
Oh,
I feel like I'm just going to end up saying that nonstop. But like conscious uncoupling as a term,
the Gwyneth Paltrow, Chris Martin announcement of the dissolution of their relationship.
Which she won, by the way, because now he dresses like a 13-year-old raver. Have you seen?
No, I haven't seen how he dresses.
Like Coldplay now, like truly, like Chris Martin in particular wears very small T-shirts and like glowing bracelets, and like aliens dance with them on stage. It's actually worth just YouTubing after this. So she won in Cheese Nuts, but I love her dearly.
Do you know her?
No, but like I just like someone who's, like, hey, you should eat this eggplant. It's $9,000.
Right.
So you're like,
hey, put this stone in your vagina.
Yeah. You're like, okay. Again, you're just being direct, So to that, I say of conscious uncoupling, it feels like something that if you were at a party in LA, maybe wherever, just where a bunch of creatives are. And like,
I already don't want to go.
You don't want to go, but it's something that a weird couple at a party would say to you, like, oh, we've consciously uncoupled. And you go like, okay. And then later on, you'd talk to your spouse and be like, wasn't that stupid? And everyone would go, yeah. And then that would be it. You would never think about it ever again. But then, like, imagine if that same couple got to have the platform to speak to the entire world and say, and so now we're hearing everyone's stupid terms and thoughts and feelings. And it's not meant to be rude, but this is something it triggered me last night, if you will. I saw this post from an Instagram site from an Instagram page. That makes me sound so old. From an Instagram site. But it said, like, and I'm paraphrasing, but like, you're autistic if you want to stay up late.
I saw you post about this.
And like, you want peace and quiet at night.
Right.
And I was like, I can't do this anymore. Because autism exists. It is a real thing. But what I think is happening is that everyone is self-diagnosing.
Yes.
And so now, I mean, I think we know that everyone's self-diagnosing. So now anyone finds a hook into something else. And then, again, they have a platform when they shouldn't. And so they're just saying whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, if I said to you, like, oh God, you know, like
that cancer urge to
like, you know, you might have fibromyalgia if you put your hand over a stove and it hurts, and you're like, what? Like it should for everybody. For everybody it should hurt. Also, people with fibromyalgia, yes, it does hurt because they also have fibromyalgia. Right. But fire hurts everyone. And so and the thing that sucks, I also think, is that like, if you suffer from autism in any way, or you have autism, I don't want to say suffer, but if you have autism in any way, it also feels a little bit diminishing that there's just people walking around being like, yeah, I have it too. And it's like, no, this is a whole thing. Yes, this is affecting my life in major ways. And like, yeah, me too. But anyway, I'm going to go to sleep. I can't go to sleep early. Yeah. Anyway.
Yes, I know.
Conscious uncoupling.
Okay, I have a question for you.
Yes.
Unrelated.
Yeah.
You're a frequent podcast guest, right?
Frequent.
You do podcasts.
I mean, I've been a guest. If we want a real number, I'd say I've probably been in my, 20 years of comedy. I've maybe done 20. So I've done like one a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
I feel like that's, 20 is a lot, but actually, given how many podcasts there are,
right,
that's not that many, really.
I'm in the like top, the bottom 90%.
I do a segment on my show called Just Me or Everyone.
Right.
And I actually have a Just Me or Everyone that I'm going to wedge in now, even though we're going to No, you know what? I'm going to make a note to myself when we do it. I'm going to say I'm going to save it. That was a tease, everyone.
Ooh.
Okay. There's a real trend toward video.
Yes.
As you notice, there's a oversized, too big light behind you.
Yes.
And other lights in here, because I've been like limping toward video for a while. Do you know Greg Fitzsimmons?
Yeah, of course.
Okay. He and I do another podcast together called Childish.
I know. Like,
it's
so, you really speak to me as if, let's say at the very least, I never like officially listened to an episode of your podcast, which I have. I've listened to many. But my point is that we are still at the very least linked online. And are aware of each other's like work and lives. And so, yes, I know. So I'm not new to you. We've known each other for years at this point.
All right. Well, as you know Greg.
Yes. Greg.
So he was asking, well, see here, Greg is a good friend of mine, and he was unaware of this element of my podcast. He's like, well, what are you doing for video? And I'm like, I haven't been doing it for a while.
Gotcha.
And he goes, what?
Yeah.
He's like, that just strikes me as so analog. So here's my question for you.
Okay.
Do you wish we were doing video at all?
No.
I know, that's the rub.
I know.
Is that
it's
neat to see it when you're, scrolling Instagram, but when you're doing it, most people are not like, cool.
Right.
I have to think about how that part of my face looks.
It's like very much the, quantum physics principle of like the observer changing the behavior of said particle, right? But also,
that's a really fancy way to describe self-consciousness.
But it's true. It's true. The moment you're on, you know. So there's that. B, I think that it in a very history repeating itself in like a dumb way. I feel like the whole point was like, okay, we did radio, which became TV, which became streaming in some way, shape, or form, which became, podcasts, which, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what if we're just going to do the same things again, then I don't have a need for it. Like, I like the idea of a podcast being a conversation between two people, or however you do it. Maybe it's, one of these narrative ones, whatever. But that was the whole point, because once you introduce cameras, you're just doing
TV.
You're doing TV and you're doing a talk show. And it's like, but a podcast in and of itself is meant to be organic. And the more elements you introduce, you've already taken the momentum of its organic nature out of it, because you spent 30 minutes an hour prepping all the other stuff. So then by the time, Allison Rosen's live on the air, she's thinking about, again, where the camera is this light hitting, blah, 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 and still trying to remember the conversation that you want to have. So it's just kind of like, I don't know. I think that, like, I don't know, like, people, like, look, people know that you're pretty. People know that you're funny. So it's like, just
stop.
Just post the pictures with the podcast and we're good. Like,
that's what I've been doing. But I do think I do need to tackle the video of it all eventually. We'll see.
Yeah, my God. I just like, but I specifically remember when we started seeing people pivot to video. And like my initial reaction was like, ugh, like a little bit of disgust because like it like, again, takes the spontaneity out of it. But it then also felt like weird versions of things that we've seen already. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know.
Well, I don't.
I'll name names.
Yeah, please name them. Name and shame. Who are you thinking of? Trying to think who are some of the first ones.
How about this? So I have, and they are my good friends. They are my very good friends, and I want to start with saying that. But they have this podcast called Flagrant. Their names are
Andrew Schultz.
Yeah. Schultz and Akash and all those guys, right? But like, it's even like seeing them in the chairs versus the couch and who's taking what seat. And I'm like, oh man, there's already so much work.
Yeah.
Like, it used to just be you guys in a room.
I wonder, how do they feel about it? Do you know?
I think, here's the thing. I weirdly think that, and look, again, ego death, all that stuff. I know where I exist in the entertainment ladder. I think that once you introduce video, though, bigger people want to come on because it's another way to be seen. I will say when they got video, like, it's like huge celebrities are going on there now. And so I'm like, oh, okay.
I didn't think about the fact that huge celebrities only want to do a show with video.
Yes.
They want to do a big show with video.
Yeah.
All right.
So
it's another reason. You know who was supposed to come on my show? Richard Marx.
Are you being sincere?
I'm being sincere.
And then he was like, there's no camera.
No, we would have done video.
Yeah.
Okay, so we had a date set.
Okay.
And then I don't want to tank this in a very sad direction. Although if you follow me and such, which it seems you know that my mom died recently.
Yes, and I'm of course very sorry about that.
Thank you.
Yes.
So I was supposed to interview him on January 4th.
Okay.
Is that right? Yes. And she died December 30th. And I was like, when my dad died, I was like, podcasting feels good. And I kept going.
Right.
I didn't really take any time off or anything. Yeah. With her, it was such a different situation. And I just feel like there's just so much, like, it feels like a heaviness sitting on me of like unpacking it's just so much more complicated. When my dad died, it was like quaint.
Yeah.
Old guy, dies while napping. And with my mom, it's just so much more complicated. And and now we're like dealing with, the house and just all the most adult shit I've ever dealt with.
Right.
But anyway, I got ahead of myself. So I decided to reschedule.
Yeah.
So then we are in the rescheduling of it right now.
Okay.
So there's a very good chance it might happen, but I also think because of, I feel like rescheduling always like opens up a chance for someone to just drop off.
Yeah, that's fair.
But also, I think he lives in Malibu, and I wonder if he was affected by the fires.
Oh, that's hard.
Yeah,
that's hard. And also, it's also And first of all, by the way, in honor of Mom, forever, love.
Thank you.
But also, I'll say that like it's hard because I do feel like, and it's very Curb Your Enthusiasm at points. But like, I can't tell when people are like, oh yeah, the fires, and they're just using it as an excuse.
Yes.
I feel like I'm hearing it a lot, and I'm like, okay, but what does that have to do with like you specifically?
Right. Did you lose your house?
Emailing me back. Like, your phone still works,
Right.
Look, Richard.
So you think he's just?
I also just think the beginning of the year, fires aside, all of it, it has just been, I would say,
been crazy.
Yes.
And rough start.
Like you personally are going through things. Me personally, we're going through things. And then that is all separate from the world at large.
Right.
You know what I mean? And so like that's where you kind of get into the, you know, the like, you know, because like I'm sure you are also like kind of, you know, on eggshells a little bit, being like, I don't want to like super bother this person, but I also want to know if it's still going to happen.
Right.
You know what I mean? So, and he's not going anywhere. He's not going anywhere.
No.
If anything, he can live here if his house burned down.
I should offer that.
Yeah. Be like, hey.
And
look, if you do the podcast, you can live here.
But I'll make it not weird by saying I offer this to all my guests.
Oh.
Because I don't want him to feel like what's going on.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah,
so I'll make it look like it's part of my email signature.
Yeah. You actually should hear me out.
Okay.
Actually change that to your email signature.
If
like,
you need a place to live.
Yeah, best Allison Rosen, you know, asterisk. If your house burned down, you can live with me.
That'd be so good.
I think people, you know what? I think people respond very positively to that.
So let's talk about, we have so much to talk about.
Yeah.
Let's talk about The Gutter.
Okay, let's chat.
You wrote it.
Uh-huh.
You and your brother directed it.
Correct.
Features a ton of people that everyone listening will know.
Yeah.
And also Susan, well, everyone knows Susan Sarandon, but I doubt she's like not part of your peer group, right?
Right.
Is his name, am I saying it right? Shamik Moore?
Yeah.
So charismatic.
Yeah.
I was not familiar with him.
Yeah.
Darcy Carden, Adam Brody.
Yeah.
You probably didn't know that he was about to become Hot Rabbi when you had him do the movie, right?
Well, you know what's so interesting is that, so we shot the movie in 2022 and it was just like, without too much complaining, studio stuff, blah, blah, blah. So in the time of us shooting it, you know, him and I was on a show with his wife, Leighton, back in the day called Making History. So that's how me and him became friends, but we've all stayed friends, whatever, blah, blah, blah. So I was just like, I wanted, and I'm going to be real, like, I was just like, any talented person I know that will show up, like, I would love to have you, you know? So he came, again, it was just like a 1-day thing. And in that time, like, Nobody Wants This, like, got picked up. And then we went to dinner and he was like, him and Leighton were both telling me and my wife, Chelsea, about their jobs. And I was just like, oh, cool. Like, everyone, you know, you guys are like doing stuff, whatever. And then the show came out and it was just like an atomic bomb. And I was like, oh my God. Like, it's just so, I guess I've never, you know, they are, and, you know, I don't want to like talk too much about, you know, friends on podcasts, but like, I'm lucky enough to be friends with so many people that like, I forget how beloved they are because, you know, it's like anyone, you know, you get to know someone, they're just your friend, right. You know, you have
your own experience of them and you kind of forget.
Exactly. And like seeing, you're like, oh yeah, they're stars again as adults, and they're a piece of like everyone's like early 20s, late teens, you know. And the same thing actually, like, you know, with Darcy, like the movie premiered in New York, and you know, we all went out to dinner afterwards, and like Shamik and everyone else had to go do a different thing, but Darcy came and ate with us. And as we were walking into a restaurant in New York, a group of people stopped and screamed like it was the Beatles. And I was just like, oh yeah, she's just like, and again, not in a rude way, I just mean, it's like, she's so beloved and right. So like, again, like you kind of, and I think just being in this city and blah, 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 but like you kind of forget how much impact who, you know, true stars, you know, like people who've been at it a while, like how much impact they have, you know. And then like, I don't know, it sounds like mad corny, but it does like warm my heart. I'm just like, damn, it's just like so cool. I don't know. It is. Like, yeah,
I think it's part of why we're all drawn to this industry, right?
Yeah.
So, where did the idea for the movie come from?
You know, simply enough, two places. One is that like me and my friends and my brother, occasionally we would all go in not Santa Monica, like Mar Vista. There's a cheap bowling alley. And it was like $5. You can bowl all night, whatever. And it was like the only thing we could afford to do. And because it was so cheap, it was just like a bunch of random groups of people, you know. So it'd be like us, and then like my brother always says like a children's birthday party, and then on the other side of us would be like just full on gang members. And you're like, why are we all here at this exact same time? Like there's children and then like literal criminals being like, yeah, so I did this drug deal, I shot this dude, and we're just like, okay, and then they would just bowl, and you're like, that's crazy. So anyway, it always made me laugh, like just the idea of like crip bowling. And then and my cousin who's based on the character of Shamik is based off of my cousin Walt, who very much is just like, we hear the term man-child so much, but I mean like he's an actual child who happens to be a man, you know what I mean? And so
does he stay up late?
Oh, he stays up late. He stays up late, and he eats cereal at any time he wants. He plays video games. But when I first had the idea, I always knew I wanted it to be like a version of my cousin, but he's like not really a gang member. And as I was like showing it to people or like kind of telling people the idea, I don't think gang member was resonated with people the way I wanted it to.
Right.
And so, cause like the first few times I like, just tried to talk about it, I would like tell people, and like, this is, the reaction they would always have, where I'd be like, oh yeah, it's like this gang member who gets good at bowling. And they'd be like, wow. Like, no,
like you're doing like a
like the Blind Side or something. Yeah, and I was like, no. I'm talking about a gang member bowling, And so I was just like, oh, I need to kind of pivot away from that. And so once I just made it more goofy, I also think it opened up the movie to be more fun too, because like again, it like makes the expectations on what you're watching to be a little bit less. I do think if it's a gang member though, people are kind of like, it's either like Snoop or no one. He's kind of like the only gang member that we're all like, yeah, gangs seem fun with him.
He's not still in a gang, is he?
I mean, I think in the way that like, I feel like he's like a Crip emeritus or something. Like
he's like an ambassador.
Yeah, exactly. Right. They brought him to the Olympics. It was like, and he's representing the Crips,
right. Like whatever protections you have, probably he still has his gang security detail.
Right. Because like I remember, here's my gang security detail. But like I remember when they were filming Starsky and Hutch, I must have just moved here, but like someone I knew was like a PA on it, and like. Yeah, dudes just like did a drive-by on like Snoop's like trailer on Starsky and Hutch, and they were like, "Oh my god, can you believe it?" And I'm like, "Yeah, an active gang member is in your movie. Yeah, I can believe it." But now at like 50 years old, and like it feels like you can't be a Crip and also DJ Trump's crypto inauguration ball,
right?
Right. Those feel conflicting. I don't know why, but in my head, like gang is so anti-establishment to also be like, and I'm a DJ for the president. Feels crazy, right?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, except I feel like there's a lot of people at that inauguration who are like, we are also anti-establishment.
Yeah, that's true. What? It is interesting though, because like, when did that happen? When did being so entrenched in the establishment then become anti-establishment? It's like,
I know
you are the cog, you are the machine, and you are the thing we're raging against. And they're like, no, I'm friends with Zach De La Rocha. It's crazy to me.
Yeah, I know. I am right there with you. What was
sorry, it's like my wallet has a weird like a Apple tag thing in it, so it makes noise sometimes.
I didn't even hear it.
Sorry.
That's okay. Oh, no, I am hearing it now. Is someone trying to find your wallet?
No, it's done now.
Okay. Then I'm just hearing things.
Maybe you heard a delay or something. Ooh.
I mean, I don't think that makes sense in terms of physics, but I like the notion. I'm just hearing things. Did the actors have to learn how to bowl better than they already naturally bowl?
No. So like we had them take a one training session just because it's like you need to know what it like kind of looks like, but also like bowling is so I don't want to say unimportant to the movie because that's not the case, but like it would only make it funnier if someone just like didn't know how to bowl. We were at least like, we're just like, hey, you have to swing your arm back and then bring it forward. That was kind of the only thing, you know. Darcy never bowls in the movie, so she didn't have to do it. Shamik, of course, like he's just like one of these guys that like you're like, hey, do a backflip. And he's like, I've never done one before. And you're like, but try. And then he'll just like do it just off ground, like no hands, just like perfect backflip. And you're like,
wow.
Oh, okay, cool. You're like super really talented. Yeah. So bowling was like that with him. We're just like, okay, like take a ball, and he like gets like a turkey on like his, 6th time rolling the ball. It's like, of course. Susan very famously keeps talking about how when she did it, she like pulled a muscle in her butt. Like she keeps saying like she like reached too far back or something. So we had a 3D printed ball made for her that was only like 2 pounds. So she could like actually like launch it and like be fun and stupid. But like,
were the other balls regular weight?
Yeah.
Even the one, because he like goes over, what am I trying to say? Like there's a wind up with it.
Yeah. So that one, it was regular weight, but it was still lighter. Like I think it was like an 8 pound or something. And then we had one rubber one that was made when he like throws it through the roof. But yeah, the rest of them were just like, I mean, like, here's the thing, like there was not like a budget really for the movie. So like we were just like, is this the ball that's in the alley? Okay, great. That's the one we will use,
Yeah.
So we were making like, again, like, someone had a 3D printer. So we were like making 3D printed versions of the balls that were already in the alley, as opposed to like needing to go out and buy new ones or buying doubles or whatever. Yeah. So, so to answer your question, only Shameik and Susan, and then Paul Scheer's in it.
Crantley, right?
Crantley Shandle. And he, we like, this is like so crazy. We're like this like insane CGI artist who just like liked the script. So he was like, yeah, I'll work on it. We're like, okay. So he would CGI like Paul's balls and like some of Shameik's. But yeah, for the most part, it's just like them like launching it. And then, it's very on purpose, badly edited bowling sequences to like show you how ridiculous it is.
That's so interesting. I hadn't put that together, that Darcy never bowls.
Yeah.
Because her character is a former bowling champ.
Correct.
And she's become an alcoholic.
Yeah.
Did you consider having her bowl? Because in a way, it's almost like not like you expect that. When I forgot that when I first saw her, I was like, oh, eventually we'll see her be like amazing.
Right. So like, and again, like it sounds so funny, like especially for people that haven't seen the movie, like for me to be talking like even remotely intelligently about it and then seeing it being like, I'm sorry, what? You put this much thought into it? But
it's very goofball.
Yes. And that's like, I know everyone's always like, we just need to have fun. But like, not only do we need to have fun, but we also
We've seen what Nicole Kidman said. We go to laugh. To cry.
But that's what it's like. Comedy is in such a weird place right now that we have to like literally find it through Nicole Kidman's like AMC movie intro. You know what I mean? Like we all, like, not us, I feel like the rest of us have like, we've stayed performing, all the things that we do, be it the podcast or stand up or whatever. So it's like comedy still exists, and it still exists in the way that it always has. But like God, this sounds so corny, but what the industry, I guess, has like propped up as comedy really isn't the same. And so like I think it's important that like we can all be like, oh no, it's fun to still just like, I say this all the time, but like especially with this movie, like yes, there's the version of you that like laughs at like a very well written quip, right? And you're like, that's funny. But like a funnier thing is always someone falling down the stairs. 100% of the time it's someone falling down the stairs, slipping on a banana peel, getting attacked by bees if it's not like My Girl and they die. But like, you know what I mean? Like,
right.
So I say all that to say,
something that makes you have more of a visceral reaction.
Exactly. So I say all that to say to the Darcy thing about the like intelligence and thinking about it. You see that so many times, you do expect it to happen. And I really thought like she should really be in her role as coach. Shameik should really be in his role as a player. And like, the movie, it drops on Hulu like on March 4th. So I hope more people watch it. But like, if we get to do a number 2, the planned sequel that I have is her movie, So I really hope that like in some way, shape or form, we get to do something else with it. Because I think that like she's, as much as she's in the movie as this like comedic coach, I think you could have so much fun with her bowling too, in ways that like we didn't really get to experience.
And you had is it Basil or Basil?
I say Basil.
I'm going to say it too, because Basil is a little pretentious.
Right.
Unless that's how he pronounces his name, in which case it works.
But it feels very like it feels
tomato.
It feels like what is that movie with the mice who fly airplanes?
Is it Stuart Little?
No, like The Adventurers or something. What is that movie? It's the cartoon movie where it's like from the 70s.
Rescuers.
The Rescuers.
Yes, Bianca and oh God, what was his name?
I thought his name
the other mouse.
I thought his name was Basil.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
Oh wait, is it? No, I think there's like the files of someone. Maybe it is Basil. There's another Basil from my childhood as well.
Yes. Yeah. But that's what it feels like. It feels very Basil, Right. So anyway, we say Basil. Me and you, we say George Basil.
That's right. Well, I got excited when I saw him because
he's nuts.
I haven't seen him in anything other than Crashing.
Yeah.
But I thought he was so good in that.
Yeah. He's, again, and it is all props to our phenomenal producer whose name is Liz Destro. She's responsible for George. She's responsible for, because so that part originally was written for John Legend, who I like.
Oh, wow.
I know him casually. So I was like, this would be a fun thing for him. And he's like, no. And also, I'm on a world tour. I'm like, oh, yeah, that makes sense. When I come in. So then there was all these other ideas.
Ooh, who were the other ones?
Here's the thing. I think you might like a few of them. So the first one off of John was supposed to be Damon John from the black shark from Shark Tank, creator of FUBU.
Oh yeah. Yes.
And so the producer's like, no one knows who that is. I was like, I feel like they do.
Yeah.
Then it was Jake from State Farm. Everyone was super excited.
Funny.
And the producer said, no one knows who that is.
We should explain who the character is.
Oh yes.
For the listener describe who this person would be playing.
So the character and context of the film is that Darcy's character is trying to oppress a man at a bowling alley through Shamik. By Shamik being good at bowling, she thinks she's going to impress this guy that's watching. So at first it was going to be like a big cameo, big celebrity cameo, like the three that I named. And then do you watch The Bachelor?
I haven't in a while.
Okay. Well, I think it was the first Black Bachelor. His name's Matt James.
Mm-hmm.
So we got in contact with him, and I was just like, that would be it's so stupid.
Yeah.
And he was all ready to do it. And then he just happened to be in Buffalo at the time and couldn't get back. So we were just like, dang it. So my friend or our producer, Liz, was like, George Basil's the guy. She was like, whatever we need to do, let's just figure out. So I completely rewrote in an hour what that scene was supposed to be, what the subsequent scenes were supposed to be. And
was he like a Casanova at the beginning? Or
yes.
Just the handsome leading man guy?
Yeah. So, and it was she's starstruck by the fact that it's just a quote unquote celebrity. So so I kind of went the opposite way because I was like, if we're going to do it, it especially annoys me when you watch something and one of the characters is like, can you believe that's Marcus Darkus, the cool singer we all love? Right. And you're like, dude, just go find someone even semi-famous and just have them do it. But I can't stand watching someone be fake famous, and they always get out of a limo with sunglasses and there's paparazzi oh please no, Marcus Darkus doesn't want any pictures.
Yeah.
So we're like, let's just make him someone it's who's repulsive, and that's who he is in the movie. But I say this with all love and respect to George. He made the character so disgusting that it I don't know, it really excited me because it's the thing that I think if anything, you paint something, you take a picture, whatever it is, it never comes out the way that you envision, but the hope is that you'll still be surprised in a positive way. And him, I was just oh, I wish I could do, you just kind of wish people would let you make things so you could just make things with the same 10 people. Cause he's incredible. He's so funny.
Okay. I took a screen grab of a review.
Okay.
And I just wanted to read this to you to tell me, to ask you your thoughts on it.
Okay.
This is, it was on RogerEbert.com.
Okay.
With The Gutter, writers, directors, brothers Yassir and Isaiah Lester have done something I, a Black person, thought would never happen. Prove that people of color can make hilariously dumb comedies too.
Yeah.
Are there not hilariously dumb comedies written by Black people?
So I did read that because I think that was the one on Rotten Tomatoes, which I've read all of them 10 times. But I find it interesting in that because he's not. What I think what he means more is that there hasn't been one in a long time. Because I do think there's like very slapsticky comedies from everyone. I mean that sincerely. Like even like I'd even say as recent as like I don't know if you saw This Fool on Hulu with Chris Estrada. It's it's a show, but it's so funny and so weird and so goofy, and it's like it was created by Chris Estrada, Jake Wiseman, Matt Ingebretson, and
I like him.
Yeah, Pat Bishop, all the guys who created Corporate, and then also Chris Estrada. But it's like a goofy East LA Mexican show with like some weird gang members, and like it's hilarious. So I say all that to say that like maybe all of them haven't reached the surface of like what pop culture is, but like. Scary Movie, people forget like the Scary Movie franchise is just like a Black franchise. It just happens to have like Anna Faris in it, but it's like a fully a Wayans brothers thing.
Right,
you know what I
right.
mean? And so like I think that because I agree and disagree. I do agree that it has been a long time if that is the meaning of what he's trying to say, but I disagree in that kind of going back to what I was saying. It's like again, if me and you walked out of this podcast studio right now and we, saw a really large guy getting chased by a very tiny cat, that we all think that's funny. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so like, I think that like maybe he's talking about specifically about opportunities to make it or what, but, and I think this is.
Interesting. I didn't like, read the opportunity part of it. Yeah.
Well, maybe I'm thinking it's kind of like the way to go because like, again, I think if you take this was intentional again, but if you take the front facing races of people out of the movie, everyone the idea was that everyone is a psycho in their different way and everyone interacts with one another, right? And that's kind of it. And then we can, because this character is Black, they can say this or do this. Because this character is white, they can do this and say this. You know what I mean? All of it. So I do agree, but I also just want like, and I think that's all of us. I think all of us just want to literally be entertained.
Well,
this, you know what I mean? Like, and there's so much stuff right now that like you're kind of just like what will feel like I didn't waste my time a little bit, you know what I mean? Like and sadly so much of it is like reality TV, in a weird way.
Now you mentioned The Bachelor. Do you watch a lot of reality TV?
So, and I'm not like one of these like tour types who's like never, because like truly I think one of the best shows on TV right now is The Traitors on Peacock.
I've been meaning to watch that for so long.
This season, I mean it sincerely. So it's a British show, I believe, originally. Now it's kind of global. What they did with the American one is kind of weird, is that they made it all reality stars. But you're kind of like, we've seen this before, like the Surreal Life, blah, blah, blah. But for whatever reason, the stars they picked this season are out of this world.
Who
phenomenal. Is it? It's like, okay, are you a reality franchise person or no?
Sort of.
Okay.
I have been at different times in my life. I've fallen off a little bit.
Okay.
Well, tell me and I'll let you know if I know who they are.
Do you remember Boston Rob from Survivor?
No.
Do you remember Caroline from Survivor?
Survivor was one I didn't watch.
Okay. I'll be real with you. I just got into Survivor a year ago.
Do I need to watch it?
So every season is up on like Peacock or whatever, Paramount Plus. Me and my wife will watch the season that's currently airing and an old season at the same time.
Ooh.
I did not know Survivor had it like that. It is so fun and weird and stupid and interesting and also dumb. Like it's everything I've kind of I didn't know that like you really are like, oh, this is like what peak reality competition should be, So love Survivor.
There's like
you should
25
watch.
million.
Someone literally, one of my good friends, Jenna Berger, sent me a list of her favorite seasons because she does like Survivor fantasy leagues and all this stuff. I will forward you that list.
Okay.
And then you just watch them.
Amazing.
In that order. It's
Thank you.
I'm telling you, like weirdly enough, you can if you do want to watch with the kids. you can watch more episodes than not.
Okay.
Which is very interesting.
Awesome.
There's not like a ton of like, cursing or like allusions to sex or any of that stuff. It's just like people really trying to like make a thing happen,
Right.
So those two, Robin Dixon from
I know that
Beverly Hills, or sorry, not Beverly Hills, from Real Housewives of Potomac.
Okay. I know that name. I didn't watch Potomac. I go in and out of Real Housewives.
Which is fair. Like, and then there's like it's hard to remember the whole cast. Like Danielle from Big Brother. There's maybe this one will catch you. Tom Sandoval?
Yes.
Tom Sandoval? Okay.
I remember asking someone last year, isn't Tom Sandoval on The Traitors? And they said, like, not yet or something.
He's on it now.
How's he doing? How is he?
It's okay. I'm trying not to give away too many spoilers.
Are you a Vanderpump person? Because I am.
So early, and then a year and a half before Scandoval happened.
Okay.
So, but I will. We can get back to that in a second.
Yeah,
Actually, let's talk about it now. Let's talk about it now. Pardon me. I think, and this actually sounds bad, but I do need to say it. I don't think there's any world where we should be treating
Ariana?
Yes, that we should be treating Ariana with any amount of sympathy.
Ooh, Tony, play some kind of sound effect. Okay, I am going to reveal something.
Okay.
Because you just said something that you really just put yourself out there. And now I'm going to say something that's going to put my husband out there.
Ooh,
it's really not right, not fair of me. We have talked about his feelings about Ariana in couples therapy.
Whoa.
And no, I don't mean like his affection for her.
No, I know that like that
he's like triggered by the fact that she's I think he feels the same way that all her cast members feel of like this, like, how did she become like Queen Ariana?
Yeah.
I forget the specific. I mean, obviously it's like if it's coming up in therapy, it's because it's like he's being triggered by stuff in his own life.
Right.
But no, go and tell me why.
Okay. So
it's probably the same as how he feels.
And look, pump heads, all the pump heads who are listening.
There are some.
Oh, of course. Yeah. The Vanderpumps.
Is that what they're called?
No, I'm saying that right now. If they don't,
yeah,
they should call them Vanderpumps.
Yeah. I own that domain already.
Yes, we do. Buy it. It's just like everything else to me, and I think that's why it affects me so much. And that if you slight someone, and then the slight comes back to you, I can't feel bad for you. You were the object. Slight? She was the object of a cheating affair thing.
Right. Yes.
First.
Right.
She was
because he was with
woman.
Kristen.
Yes.
Yeah.
And she was the other woman. And then it's not just like, look, it's more that she can say, how could you? Mm-hmm. When I'm like, you actually know how he could.
Yeah, very easily.
Yeah, so I don't
origin
know.
Story.
Yes. Exactly. It is your origin story. So if I am to be told that I need to feel bad about someone who is the person who is, again, the first striker, if you will, I just can't. It's really hard for me. It's really, really hard for me. And not only that, it's more about, because, like, look, and I mean this sincerely, whether it's heightened or not is kind of not up to me. These are people's lives, though, that, like, are blown up. You know what I'm saying? So, and this actually goes to a bigger feeling I have about like infidelity in public as a whole. Like, I feel like, is it really our news to know that that's arguable? But what happens after that, I feel like we should just stay out of this. Like, there's a lot happening with anyone who like cheats,
right?
And like
it does feel like watching Gladiators.
Yes,
something.
exactly. And they're like, oh, now they're at court, and I'm like, oh my god, this is crazy. This is crazy. So, so the first thing, the slight of the slight, whatever. But the second part is that, like, it also feels like, do you feel that bad about it? Because, like, now you're doing like Duracell commercials.
Well,
and like,
you can't argue against the fact that it was a boon to her career.
Absolutely. But I just feel like, and again, I cannot judge anyone's journey. So I'm not judging the journey. I'm saying from where I'm sitting, I don't enjoy watching it, you know? Mm-hmm. And so, and
enjoy
also,
watching what? Scandal? Or her Duracell commercial?
The journey of something, and it's also like, okay, something terrible did happen, but also I want to be clear with, and I think he is hilarious, but maybe the dumbest person in Los Angeles.
Ooh,
Tom Sandoval. You know what I'm saying? Like,
I said ooh.
Oh,
like because I got excited to find out.
Oh, okay,
okay. Like, because you know who Tom Schwartz is?
Yes. Of course.
He seems dumb too sometimes.
But that's what I'm saying. Like if someone said like, you know, Tom Schwartz, like, again, for the sake of argument, like, I won't do a fire thing, but like accidentally drove through like a cake shop because, you know, he was drunk or whatever, I wouldn't go, I'm so surprised. Just what you know what I'm saying? So when someone's like, Tom Sandoval cheated on Ariana, I'm like, I can't care.
Yeah.
Because it's actually, if you would have said they've been together for 25 years and it's all been great, I'd be like, whoa.
Right.
Like, that would be shocking.
Right.
I
think that's how, and again, I should not be talking about Daniel like this, given that it might get some blowback and he's not here to say how he feels.
Yeah.
But I think his feeling was how black and white were making it, like villainizing him, making her a saint. Yeah. Obviously, you don't want to like blame the quote unquote victim, and you don't want to say it's her fault that she was with this toxic guy.
Absolutely not.
But the idea that she's complete, I mean, there's some, I think he felt there should be some culpability is even too strong, but just that like we saw people try to tell you on air.
Right. Yes.
And she like defended him and shut it down so much. It's like, how did you, what you're saying, like we can't be that surprised. But I think, but for me, what was surprising was that it was Rachel.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah. Because I don't know. It just seemed like I just didn't see that coming. And so then to feel like the wool was pulled over her eyes.
I think, you know, and maybe this goes for any reality show. I like, and it's going to come off as joking. I don't mean for it to be. But like, it didn't surprise me that Jen Shah was a criminal. Oh. The crime itself did shock me, though. Where I'm like, whoa.
Right.
That's like way deeper than I thought maybe you were going to like scam people out of like, you know,
supplements.
But you know what I'm saying? Truly, like, or like you were mailing them autographed headshots and you had just been printing them off like your computer.
Right.
But like, it's
to be like skimming money from old people.
Yes. Is like, oh, you're out here doing full fraud. You know what I'm saying? So it doesn't shock me that she's a criminal. The crime itself shocks me. So like, I think that's how I feel about their situation, the scandal of it all too, and that
they're questionable people doesn't surprise you, but
correct
the way it actually went down.
Correct, yeah.
Interesting.
But I also refuse to give it the I refuse to give it the power that like pop culture is trying to give it. Like again, like they don't. I know this is like bad, and like I don't have kids, but like it's not like they have like kids and all this stuff. Like I'm just like some dude who said he was going to open a restaurant for 12 years, who kind of finally did it, then it shut down, cheated on a lady who they were bartenders together or whatever. And like,
and they weren't married.
And kind of just like lived in Valley Village and had a dog. Like, I just don't, I don't know. It's so hard because it's not even like if, how about this? And then I'll be done. If it weren't Vanderpump Rules, right? And let's, for the sake of argument, say it was like some weird Earl Morris documentary, right? Okay. Like something that's like very serious, you know. And like this, you know, I would even say this. If God, what's Steve Irwin's wife's name? I can't remember her name right now. But like,
oh, I just know Bindi Irwin.
Yeah, Bindi's the daughter, right? But it's like if Steve Irwin cheated on his wife and like that came out, I would be like, holy crap.
Right.
Like, that would actually rock me in a
Yes.
way that I was like, oh, man. Because, like, again, at the very least, the front-facing persona of that person is like, oh, I just love my wife and punching an alligator or whatever. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, it has...
He seems wholesome, yeah.
Yes.
Right. This wasn't against type.
At all. Like,
Yeah.
I would actually argue it is so in type that, again, had it not happened, I would be like, wow, Vanderpump sucks. Like, no one's cheating on each
Right.
other. Like, you know what I mean?
There's no drama.
Like, yeah. So, I don't know.
Did you watch The Valley?
Wait, which one was The Valley?
The Valley was the show that Kristen and Jax went on.
Oh, no,
together.
I didn't.
Oh, it was pretty good.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I recommend that one.
Okay.
As someone who casually goes in and out of reality world.
Are you a Jax person?
No. How are we defining a Jax person?
Just, you don't have to like him, but you're intrigued by him as a person.
I think so.
Okay.
I don't find him to be poison on screen. Like, I enjoy. Yes, I think he's a doofus, but
yes,
I enjoy watching the goings on of Jax.
Yes. Okay. And
Do you not?
No, I think I am too, but like not in a way that I'm like more Jax, but I'm definitely not like less Jax.
Right.
Like, there's something. He's like a variable you need in a math equation to kind of be like, oh, what's this?
Well, when they booted him off Vanderpump, I feel like Vanderpump struggled a little bit.
Yes, because like at the very least, and again, look, I don't think that it's great that his contribution was like being drunk and drug addled,
right, and stealing sunglasses, but it gave the show more to talk about. Yeah.
You know, when you don't have that element for a show that's like supposed to be like, you know, it does feel a little, it feels a little quiet, you know?
Now, how do you feel about, and by the way, in my mind, I keep being like, and then we're going to move off of Vanderpump and then we're going to move off of, but here I am still.
Yeah.
How do you feel about Stassi?
Okay. So I'm glad you asked.
Someone had to.
I think there's more, like, I know it's going to sound crazy, but I think that there's more math there than not. And that I think everyone thinks that she's, like, do you think she's dumb?
No.
And I feel the same way. Like, I genuinely believe in my heart that, like, if there's someone there who kind of knows what they're doing the entire time.
Oh, you think she's being calculated? Maybe.
Well, calculated makes it. How about this? Like,
makes
I
it
think
sinister.
Yeah, or that there's like, I just like, how about, she just feels like someone who is always, and even if she's like not this literally, she just knows where to be at the right time. Like, even in terms of, I'm not even talking about like the drama of it. I just mean like quite literally like I'm trying to think of a way to articulate it that's like smarter, but like the only thing I can say is that like, how about this? Kind of like talking about what we were talking about earlier with like the podcast video stuff. She is always aware of the observer.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so that's kind of what I mean. Whether it's for good or for bad, I think that she always knows. And because of that, like, it does make her, you can say calculated, but I do think that because I don't like, how about this? I don't find her inherently interesting. Does you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. It's kind of hard to say, but yeah.
Right. She's a little bit like Tabula Rasa. Blank.
Yes.
So I had a weird real life experience.
With her?
Well, she was there. She didn't know me, but
right.
We were at the Museum of Natural History.
Oh my God, cool. Great story. Yeah.
And I saw a kid.
Yeah.
And I had that tingle of like, I am in the presence of a celebrity. It happened very fast.
Okay.
It was just automatic.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, that's Stassi's child.
Whoa.
And it was the first time I had reacted to a child as if they were a celebrity.
Okay.
Which feels a little bit gross, actually. Although people have sometimes, like when they see my dog, they're like, I feel like your dog's a celebrity.
Yeah.
But still, there's that feeling of like, this is a 3-year-old. I shouldn't be like, oh my God, I've seen that 3-year-old on Instagram, but I had. So then I'm like, if I forget her daughter's name, it's like Harper Harris. It's like Harrison or Harperson or it's some name like that.
Right.
I can't believe I'm forgetting it. I'm like, she's got to be nearby.
Right.
And Lala and Stassi were there. It was pretty exciting.
Okay. Lala, I hate.
Ooh. I have come around a bit on her. Tell me why you hate Lala.
I think now
you must have similar feelings about the Rand what's his name? Randall Emmett stuff, like that she became a real victim in all of that.
Yeah, okay.
Similar thing.
Yes. So the thing about Lala that like, and I mean, again, we all, and I mean this sincerely, and I mean this race aside, I think everyone does a version of code switching in their lives, even if it's just like, I'm talking to my neighbor versus like my friend, whatever. But hers is like it like
like Lala the gangsta.
Yeah, and like okay. I'm like even I think people gave her a little bit too hard a time where she was like, I genuinely feel like I'm Tupac. Like she knows what she's saying. Like it's stupid. But like the thing that I don't like is like, you know, you see her ex and he's disgusting.
Yeah.
And then from then on, this is race based. She would go after black dudes, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, you're not even getting like the best of us. Like you were just finding.
Do you feel like she didn't have discerning taste?
No, I think that she was just like that is a black man.
Interesting.
And like like I'm trying to think of the episode. Where were they? I was gonna say they were like somewhere in
Las
Texas.
Vegas.
Was it Vegas? Yeah.
Well, was it the waiter? No. Sorry.
No.
It was that.
They're in like a weird towny bar, remember? And they just like these two dudes show up, and she's like,
hadn't she like called them ahead of time or something?
She called one of them, and he brought a friend, and
where were they? Were they in Texas?
Were they in Utah? Were they back visiting? Like, was she visiting where she was from or something? I can't remember. They weren't in a like big city,
right? But
I was like, look, you get a good looking black dude or no one at all. That's kind of you know what I'm saying? And that should be the rule for anyone.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But like that is when I'm like, okay, this is like no longer fun. This is just like someone playing the game in a way that like it actually doesn't feel like anything. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Like, and we've seen it in various versions of people who, you know, say like, I like this kind of person. And you're like, well, you're just getting with any
I remember this guy that I kind of liked saying, I like all women, any kind of woman. And I was like, I know you're trying to say something inclusive, but that actually sounds gross.
Right,
like that. Now I don't want to be near you.
Look,
like, ew.
Stop reading my text. But see, to that end, it's like, look, and again, that is actually fine. We are all allowed to have types. That is what makes you a human being. I genuinely believe that. But like,
isn't it funny though that we do have reactions to some types?
Yes.
Like I think. Oh, this is uncomfortable to talk about race, but it is.
Yes.
But the white guy that only dates Asian women.
But see that's what I'm saying. It's like we all know that person.
Yeah.
You know, or we know that person exists, right? But she is that of like
black people,
any black guy who's like walking past who could, you know, like, so I think that's what gets me more than anything, because it then in my mind gives her the excuse in her mind to be like, you know, and I'm just like,
nah.
Yeah, like, and you're just like, stop, like, stop. And the weirder thing is that, like, we have both versions of you talking on camera. You know what I'm saying?
Yes.
And again, to the code switching of it all, we all do a version of changing our voice, inflection, all of it. Like, it's again, it's adaptability through evolution, right?
You're suggesting it's a little bit appropriation, though, or just very fake.
Because I wouldn't even say it was appropriation, because I think people who appropriate, and you know, I've talked about this before, but like, I think people who appropriate generally have an actual love of the thing that they're appropriating. I think they like something so much that they're like, I'm gonna be that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, but because that's the other thing with like the white guys with the Asian wives. It's like, it would actually be a little bit nicer to me if they were like, I also like wear a kimono. I'd be like, okay, it's not, I don't think you should, but like, I at least get that you love the culture so much, but it's not that. So I think that's how I feel about her. I'm like, it's not genuine appropriation, because I don't think you love it like that. I think that, like, again, your husband or ex-husband, whatever, they were actually married. Yes.
Yes.
was so polar opposite of what she's doing now. It feels like that thing where one day in Confidence, while he's 70 years old and she's 23, he's like, if we ever divorce, just never let me see you with a black guy. Like very like Donald Sterling,
right, right.
And she's like, okay. And then like the moment they get divorced, he's like, ha ha. He's just like clutching his chest, like no, And I just like, again, everyone else on the show is like, at the very least, like they're annoying, but you're like, they're annoying and fun in the way that you can tell that they are annoying and fun like that as a person most of the time. Whereas her, like, I genuinely think if she came in here and we were like, hey, talk like you talk
like Lauren.
Yes, we would be speaking to not just like a different, like, not just like someone whose voice is a little calmer or whatever. I think we would be talking to like a different person. Like it almost feels like a split personality thing.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And you think it's done for the camera, or she just has that in her?
Maybe it's done for the camera in the sense that she knows it's like, well, that's what will get people talking, right? So like maybe it's that, but I also just think that like, I don't know, I really dislike her. I really dislike her.
Now,
yes,
and I had intended to get off of reality, but I just have to ask one more thing from Reality World.
Yeah.
What's your feeling about the Kardashians, who all date black men except for Kourtney, who never dates black men?
Right. So, okay, this is I'm gonna. So I worked with Kim on a thing.
What thing?
It was speaking of John Legend. It was like a John Legend holiday special thing.
Oh, were you a writer on that?
No, I was on it for 2 minutes. I like played his cousin.
Oh, cool.
Actor, yeah. But
Kulop. Did she work on
Yes.
Okay, I knew I had some connection.
Yes. Yeah. So, I and me and Chelsea have gotten into this many times.
If anyone doesn't know, your wife is Chelsea Devante.
Devante, yes, sorry. So we've gotten into this a bunch, but like, my argument, and like we've argued it down a bunch of times, is that like you can't discount Kim Kardashian as a feminist, because I believe she is aware of and is intentionally using her body, or whatever you want to call it, for the sake of capitalism and advancing in the world, right? And
okay.
I think that if you are
It's a very scholarly take on this.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been in any scholarly circle. It feels like something I would have discussed in college.
But I'm saying, to me, like, part of feminism is intent, right? And Chelsea's argument back to me, and I'm paraphrasing it, was that it became intent much too late. But like at first, she was just someone who was the byproduct of the patriarchy that she is then flipping into feminism. So like we've had this argument back and forth.
And the feminism that she's then flipping into feminism, the feminism being a powerful, wealthy woman. And
ownership of the sex appeal, or whatever you want to call it, right?
Commodifying herself.
Yes, exactly. So that's a separate argument. The thing that I'll say about them in particular is that, like, yes, I do. But the thing that I can say about them, though, and again, I don't know them, is that you don't see, like, you never see Khloe or Kim or Kylie or Kendall or whatever. They're not doing the things that Lala do, right? You don't see them like smacking their lips,
right?
And, like, where, like, they might dress a little hood sometimes, but like it never, I think they get more slack for being like, they're too tan in this photo. It's like, well, they are Armenian, what I mean? Like it happens, So, so I say all that to say that, like, I like, because they seem to be fully aware of what they're doing, it bothers me a little less. And it's been like that the whole time. Like, I don't, like,
right.
You know what I'm saying?
It seems
like,
authentically, potentially inauthentic.
Exactly. Like, this is, if you're talking about a type, it's like, okay, like, sure, are there socioeconomic arguments to be made as to what they're doing and if it's right or wrong or whatever. I'm sure that we can look on TikTok and someone's done a 40-part series on it. I'm not that interested in it, other than like what me and you are talking about, in the sense that like I don't think that like it is. I don't think there's. Oh God, I know people are gonna come after me. I don't know if there's like an evil intent behind it, other than like I think they're evil in different ways. I just don't think this is one of the ways that they're evil. You know what I'm saying? Like I think that they are. I don't even think that they're just like conservative Republicans. I think that they're staunch capitalist worshiping staunch Republican. Like that.
Are they
to
staunch
me,
Republicans?
Yeah, they're pretty.
Really, all of them.
Yeah, if you like go and look at the stuff that they like kind of say and do online.
I do remember Kim supporting. It's very local, but Rick Caruso for mayor.
Yes, and
also the conscious uncoupler did too.
Really,
Gwyneth did. Yeah.
But see, that's when you're like, oh, this is a rich thing. This has nothing to do with politics. Really, is purely a money play.
Right. Rick, for listeners who are not hyper local, Rick, and I think I actually talked about it on the show at the time. Rick Caruso is the mastermind behind Americana and
the
Grove, which are giant outdoor fancy malls out here. And he was running for mayor, and a lot of celebrities got behind him, even though his politics are not good for the average person
at all. And he also has a private firefighting department.
Oh yes, and I remember reading about that.
He spent that resource saving his malls and not his daughter's house that was on fire.
I didn't know that.
It's
wow.
Like look, gross. Again, a private firefighting department's already gross, but like to be like, save that Abercrombie.
Yeah.
So crazy when your daughter's like...
He could have, collected insurance on all that. Like, what were you saving? The merchandise?
I guess. And it's just like, dude, it's anyway.
Yeah.
So Kardashian's annoying, not as bad as Lala. Lala she is the I think she is the queen bee of like this weird whatever's happening.
The whatever happening being the code switching?
Like evil code switching, like I wouldn't even, here's the thing, I wouldn't even say fetishizing, because fetishizing again to me at least is like
you're not
I have
gonna
a
fetish shame.
Huh?
You're not gonna fetish shame or kink shame.
Well, that, and also like I just think that like again you like something so much that you're like
right.
So hers feels like malicious to me, like it really does. Like there's just like I know that it, like again it feels like she's
exploitative.
Yes, and she's just making her ex-husband mad. That's genuinely how I feel about it. Yeah.
I'm sure we'll hear from people who have opinions on your feelings about Lala.
Oh God.
God, we didn't even talk about like where you grew up or how you.
Marietta, Georgia.
Okay.
Next.
All right. Did you want to be a comedian first? What did you want to do first?
I came out to LA specifically to be a stand-up comedian and writer. And like I didn't have like I took a 6-week like directing course.
Where?
That's like the thing that got the New York Film Academy.
Ooh.
Next to it's like literally part of like a strip mall, like off like like right next to all the studios. I had a good time there, but like I genuinely just was like, if I can do stand up and like get a job writing on a TV show, like I will have done it and like do a special, like 1 hour special one day. So that's what I came out here originally for. So like it wasn't like for acting or any of that stuff and all that stuff. Not all that stuff, but like those things have happened to me before, which is really great and exciting, and I'm thankful. And then that's kind of
What was Black Monday like?
Nuts, but like in the best way possible.
Were you writing on that also, or just okay?
Yeah, so I started as a writer, and then they were like, hey, do you want to play this character? And I was like, oh, okay, sure, you know. So and it was supposed to be like just a one-off thing, but I think because I was in the writer's room, they're like, oh, just, I don't know, maybe Yassir can say that. I was like, okay.
I loved, and you played a character named Yassir, right?
Yeah.
I loved that.
It was very, like, I was just like, look, let's not go through the trouble of like building a character. Yeah, like it's just me. I'll wear glasses. Like the end, you know. It was the best. I mean, like I'm still friends with everyone that like worked on the show. Like it was directed by Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, and you know the pilot was, and it's it's like Don Cheadle and Regina Hall and Andrew Rannells and, again, Paul Scheer and Casey Wilson. It's like all these people that like you grow up, like, like watching, and then like one day you like show up and they're all there and you're kind of like, because it is very important. I don't have imposter syndrome. I genuinely, each time, like, I should have imposter syndrome. I'm more like, you guys are lucky to be working with me. And I don't know why. Because it's like, I'm not.
What a great attitude to have, though.
Yes, but then also sometimes I do think it gets in my way where I'm like, you guys have no idea what you're doing. I'm literally right about this. And they're like, okay, well, you're fired. And I'm like,
has that happened?
Okay. I haven't been like fired, but I have like been slowly
phased out
before. Where I'm like,
moved
okay,
more in the outward employment direction.
Like, yeah, exactly. Exactly. But it was the best.
Wait, are you suggesting that you had that attitude on that show?
Oh, well, I was saying that like in the sense that like that's usually how I am, but like these people are all legends, so you kind of can't even. I see. I can't even be like, you guys are lucky to have me. I'm like, no, I am lucky to be here, right. Like for sure.
Right. Do you have a superiority complex?
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I really do, and I've talked about this in therapy. It's really weird. I don't believe in, or I absolutely don't like speak disrespectfully to people who are at my level as a peer or below me. Like I really, but anyone who's above me.
Oh, you're public authority.
Yeah.
I do too.
I'll kill you in front of your family. Don't ever talk to me like that. You know what I mean? Like it really, I don't know what it is, because that's when I genuinely think in my head is that like, if you already think that you're above me, then we are not the same kind of person. You know what I'm saying? Like I just like, and look, I'll never be president, but like I just can't imagine like being president or in a leadership role of any sort and like seeing a homeless / unhoused person on the street and not doing everything I could to make them my peer if they are not my peer. And you know what I mean? Like it's just so weird to like, we are all alive at this one moment in time. We have no idea what happens I have no idea what happens after this, and we're not maximizing our time to help one another. It feels crazy to me. I don't know. So when people, try to like flex on you, or like, especially here in LA, I'll say, like when people try to big time you, you're like, okay, but like the great equalizer is that, I'm not saying this to be funny, but like at any moment we could all get punched. At any moment, like, tragedy can befall us or whatever. And it's just like, and I've had some really hard things happen in my life, and you've had really hard things happen in your life, and it's just like, why would we spend that time trying to belittle someone? It just feels crazy to me, so.
And you feel like someone who's above you in your job is doing that, trying to belittle you?
I do feel like that. I wouldn't say all the time, and I actually think that's why I like Black Monday so much, is because everyone really was so like, we are in this together and we're just trying to make something and do something cool. Whereas like I have been in jobs, like I just don't like specifically working at like, and I've worked in, like corporate office jobs and all that stuff, but like, and at McDonald's. But like when the hierarchy comes into play and it's like, I am the regional manager of blah, blah, and I'm like, but it kind of doesn't matter because we're both here. So like, let's just be cool and like figure it out. And so it's like, I don't have a problem with someone being my boss or superior, but I do have a problem if they believe it makes them better than me as a person. I really can't stand that.
Yes. Yeah.
So
I just thought of this. One of my, I think, there's so much from my 20s that I look back on and I just think, oh God, I was insufferable.
Right.
I was so blinkered. I was so like I hadn't woken up yet, you know?
Yeah.
And I do generally find that I have a problem with authority.
Right.
And in therapy, actually, a therapist in New York was like, this is a blind spot for you.
Okay.
Often, you know what it is, actually? There's usually like one person, like the person who hired me, like so I worked in magazines. So like the editor-in-chief or something, that person I respect.
Right.
But then like the person who's directly above me, who's younger than me or something like that, that's where all of that, I have a real I'm not good at being political about it, which I should be. But so anyway, I worked at the OC Weekly, and I'll say names because I feel guilty about this.
Yeah.
Editor-in-chief hired me.
Yeah.
And then the music editor was like, suddenly I was answering to him.
Okay.
And I was supposed to do, write about a band each week.
Yeah.
And he would want to know, like, by this day, let me know who you're going to write about.
Yeah.
And I refused to tell him at the beginning because I was like, you're not the boss of me. He was the boss of me.
Right. Okay.
And also, like, don't try to interfere with my artistic expression. I mean, so insane. Because the thing is, the setup at that place, I could have written about whoever I wanted. He just wanted to know so he could like make note of it, figure out, the photo that goes with it and make sure someone else isn't writing about it.
Right.
I had no idea that when I got to New York, it'd be like, I want to write about so-and-so. And they'd be like, no, who else?
Right.
I didn't this guy wasn't interfering. It was just, and I took umbrage with having to tell him, like, what was I wish an older person that I respected could have pulled me aside and been like, you're doing this wrong.
Right, yeah.
You are doing this wrong.
They're just doing their job.
Yes.
Yeah. But also, I like low-key get it. Because can I ask, was the music editor a man?
Yes.
Yeah, so I'm sure I get that. I get it in the sense that you're probably like, who is this dude who's like making me like spill my, know, like my whatever, my endeavor of the week to, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's just like, I do get that's a little crazy. And I feel that way about a lot of things. So I like, look. There's a chance you were wrong, and there's a chance that I'm wrong in agreeing with saying that you were actually right. But
well, maybe emotionally I was right.
Yeah.
But in terms of how it works at a job, it's like the person making the menu or something, and except I wasn't the chef, but someone's like, I'll let you know what kind of special of the day it's going to be when I give it to the person who's ordered it.
Right.
But how can they order? I mean, it was just.
But okay, okay. Can I?
Yeah, please.
Okay. I would argue that the person didn't ask you in a way that was actually conducive to
clearly, because I didn't understand.
Right.
I didn't understand why I had to do it.
Right,
it was It came like an order.
Right.
And so I bristled at it. But before that, I'd only had a few. Like, I had done a lot of freelance writing, and I had worked at Sam Goody.
Yeah.
But in terms of, and I babysat. In terms of job, this was my first workplace, so all of this was very new.
Right.
I also wish I had somehow like learned that somewhere else before I was, I don't know. All right, let's do a segment called Yes. Did you want to say something?
Yes.
Yeah.
And I want you to keep this in, and I hope like
I'm keeping all of it in.
Okay. I hope it doesn't come off as pandering, but for all that you've done and accomplished, and kids and all of it. You look so young. It's crazy.
Thank you. I'm 116
months.
I'm 49.
I didn't know your exact age, and I was just saying that, like, specifically, I'm like, oh my God, you have a young face, and here's the thing, because like I think a lot of times people are like, oh, they have like a young soul, and that's what keeps them. But like, no, you actually look very young.
Oh my God, thank you.
It's just weird because like you're talking about something that I know happened a while ago. So that's all. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And honestly, even if it were pandering, that's what I you know how sometimes you'll be around someone else and you watch someone like lavishing someone with compliments, and that person is eating it up, and you're like, ew.
Yeah.
And I have realized I am the person who, like, I believe every compliment comes from a sincere place,
I do. I you'd like to think it does.
Yeah.
But
I mean, it feels so. Thank you. Hello, everyone. 2025 me here to say you may have noticed you're not hearing a lot of ads. There's not a lot of segues. As the queen of segues, my throne has grown dusty. My crown no longer fits. I am now directly supported by Patreon. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. All sorts of stuff you can get there. There is a whole separate bonus Patreon podcast called The Friend Zone, so you can get episodes of The Friend Zone. There's also a level where you can text me and I will text you back. I have been doing daily morning text updates, And I read some on the show, and I know that Tony was thinking, stop reading them, Allison. You are turning people off. You're making them think, now I wish I wasn't even subscribed. But no, I read them, and more people signed up. They're like, I got to get me a piece of that. I got to snap me off a piece of those morning texts. So there's that and more. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. And if you do an annual subscription, you get 2 months free, and you can feel good about supporting an independent creator and helping us continue to do this show. Oh, hi, everyone. 2025 Allison Rosen here to tell you I have an Amazon storefront. I'm kind of a store proprietor. It's amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen. And starting in 2024, unless it was even 2023, I have been soliciting product picks from the guests on my podcast. So I have over 160 items collected in my storefront that people cannot live without. And for each one, you can see who recommended it. How fun is that? It's very fun. You need to check it out. Change your life with these recommendations, or just peruse them. Amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen. So let's do Just Me or Everyone.
Okay.
Sometimes I ponder on something I have thought or done. Is it just me or everyone?
Okay, so this is the segment where we share something we think or do, and we wonder, is it just me or is it everyone? As teased before, I have one, but I would like to hear yours first.
Okay, so it's like so corny, but I genuinely feel like it only happens to me. When I go to reach for something, if I think about dropping it, I immediately drop it. Like if I were to, these water bottles in front of us, like genuinely, if I weren't thinking about it, me and you were just talking, I'd grab it, I'd unscrew it, I'd drink it, whatever. But if I think about like, oh, I'm going to grab this water, I will drop it 4 to 5 times before I'm actually picking it up, to the point where I'm like, do I have neuropathy? Like, am I losing? Like, am I losing
control
sensation or control of my hands? That, as I actually have 2. Can I say one more?
Yeah, please.
My other one is, I only have typos when I'm texting someone if I need to impress them.
Wow, I have them all the time, and if it's someone I'm close with, I leave them in, and it's theirs to sort out.
It's. If I'm talking to, if it were just me and you texting, like, whatever. But if it were the first time you were saying, like, hey, I'd like you on the podcast, and I'm like, oh my God, this is it. It would look like, I don't know. It would look like Russian. Like, it would be like backwards R's and like upside down, I don't know, Z's, even though I guess that's probably just the same letter. It actually drives. Are you going to draw it? Okay. I'll draw it upside down. Oh, so it's like not the same, but like it's cool.
No,
like,
I don't. I think I made a mirror image of it. I made it backwards, not upside down. Oh, you know what? Oh my God, I should just go.
Yeah, you did it right.
No, I don't think I did because.
Well, because like a Z is just an N, right? So you just draw an N.
Oh, sorry, an upside down Z is the same.
Yes,
you're right.
Yes. Okay. So I say all that to say that like. It actually drives me insane, like to the point where like I start fuming like by myself. And like now the thing that's like weirdly saved my life is like this new like edit the text, like especially for text messages.
Oh, when you can edit it,
you can, like, change it.
I've only recently started doing that.
Oh, I do it all the time now. But this is what I don't like about it. People can go back and just hit the edit and see what you got wrong.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes. So if you hit where it says, like it tells you that the text was edited, if you tap edit,
did not know that.
It shows you what they originally wrote.
I never knew
and
that.
And they did that because people were probably like, I hate you. I wish you would die. And then, it was like, okay, I'll be there at 6, whatever it is.
I had no idea.
Yeah, it's a bummer. But that is like, in my soul, I'm not kidding. It like, even thinking about it right now, it makes me sick. It makes me that mad that like I just can't text right the first time with someone I'm texting with the first time.
Is it nerves?
I think it's like a hyper focus or something. Like I'm like so concentrated because I'm telling you, like, this is the other annoying part. I go back and read it and I'm like, how did I get that wrong? Like, same thing with emails. And then like Gmail has the thing where you can like undo, but only for like 5 seconds or whatever. And like I miss the window every time. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to drive into a Baskin Robbins and that's going to be the end of my life. Like,
wow. First someone was, who was it? Who was going to drive through a cake shop in LA? And you said you wouldn't be surprised.
Was that Tom Schwartz? I think Tom Schwartz is going to drive through.
Okay. And now you're driving through a Baskin Robbins.
I think about it a lot.
Confectionery places. Be on guard.
No, yeah. Sorry. I didn't mean to make them confectionery. Just, I don't know. Why did I pick desserts? That's so weird. Yeah.
Well, because it's wholesome.
No, but I think it needs to be somewhere like, I guess, like United Healthcare. Like somewhere where it's like, because I don't want to like
mess with someone's Sunday.
Cake shops and ice cream. Those are people just working. United Healthcare, there's something wrong.
Yeah. By the way, where is Luigi Mangione now? He was everywhere.
He was in prison, but they stopped talking about him because they realized everyone was on his side. So they're trying to phase him out of it. Yeah,
interesting.
And I think that now that that's happened, the trial's not going to be like the big deal that we all thought it was going to be, because they're like, oh, if we keep showing him and why he did this stuff, like,
and how attractive he is,
then we're screwed. So
what a
wait, can I ask you a question? If he were not like cool killer Luigi Mangione and he was just walking down the street, would you still be like, that's an attractive guy, or would you be like, oh, that's cute?
Oh, right. Is he cool? Is he attractive for a killer?
Yes.
That first photo of him, did he have a balaclava on? No. What did he have? The hood, where you only saw part of him.
Right. Yeah.
I was like, this is like something out of a movie. God.
Yeah.
And then when we actually saw the real him, I was like, okay, he's not as attractive as he was in my mind.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah.
But he's still cute. But I think if he just walked down the street, I don't know that I would. I think it's the combination. Yeah. It's the outlaw killer kind of Robin Hood of it all. I also, though, you might be more revolutionary than I am. I think you are.
Okay.
I don't know that I really think we should be like, yay, assassin.
Oh, yeah. I
you
think, do. It's strictly in context. I think it's in context of, like, I can only speak to my experience, but in dealing with insurance companies and with the sickness that has befallen my family before in dealing with insurance. And then knowing the steps that they go through, I'm not going to lie. Like, I just knew insurance was hard. I didn't know they were making it as hard.
See, I think I did, because now, obviously, not like I haven't been able to get life-saving stuff. So I'm not saying I'm the same as that. However, I have talked extensively about every fucking claim takes 5 phone calls to unfuck.
Right, yeah.
And it's always in their favor.
Right, exactly.
So it's, and like, this is, in my mind, they have some kind of slider on their computer of like how difficult to make it for you, and they like dialed it all the way up, like last year.
Yeah. Like, and so I think that's where it is. And when you see the amount of like, I don't know, like unneeded death, I really, and this is a philosophy of the past few years. I will say that, like, because I did grow up religious, all that stuff.
Oh, which religion?
Christianity, Southern Baptist, like that's so
hardcore.
Obvious. Yeah. Well, it's interesting. My mom's from California. It's just in Georgia, there's not like a ton of like non-denominational church. You're kind of just like, there's a Baptist one. All right. But I do think that, like, I don't know. I don't want to get too dark, but just that, like, I do think that, like, is it death? I don't know. I don't know if death is the answer, but like at some point, like if you're making life so miserable for so many people, how can you, it's the Ariana thing. How can you not expect the chickens to not come home to roost at some point? That's more of like the like lesson to me to be learned. And it's just like look, insurance is set up for them to make money, sure. But like you can't, like, you're destroying people. Literally. It's just like that. It just seems so. But that to me is like the boss mentality thing, where I'm like, oh, you're terrible.
Right.
We'll see what happens.
Right.
But like again, like someone who's just like, hey, I just like answer the hotline. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, that's not, it's not, that's specifically not their job. You know what I'm saying? They actually can't make the decision. It's some computer. Right. Like, that's so crazy.
Yeah.
Anyway, so I do think if you are good looking enough, you should kill somebody who is making your life harder.
Because everyone will love you.
Everyone will love
it's like, and I'm messing this up, but there's some sort of like thought experiment of like, you have to kill one person or else, 100,000 people
the trolley
will die.
Problem. It's called the trolley problem.
What is it?
So it's a trolley on a track, right? And the track diverges, right? And so on one train track is one person tied to the track. And then on the other train track is like 5 people, right? And you hold the switch to the trolley, deciding which, like, so the question becomes like, and the thought experiment of it all is like, for the sake of argument, is the one person on the train track someone very important to you? Versus
right.
the 5 that you may not know. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it's like, it really becomes like the value of a life, right?
Yes.
But see, to me, I'm like, yeah, like if you have to take out the CEO to make the other 5 people live, who are innocent, by the way, it's not like they were making his life harder.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, so I don't know. It's weird. All of it's weird. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. Well, it's sad that it has to come to this when we can all, again, just be like, okay, you're not feeling well. Let's take care of each other. Like, I think that like truly the future of it's just the future of this country is community care and mutual aid. Like, I think that with food, all of it, like in a world where like they're not regulating anything that we eat anymore. And they're like, hey, don't eat that carrot. It'll kill you.
Right.
Like, carrots? And they're, yeah, carrots. So we have to grow our own carrots. I'm going to start giving you carrots.
Yeah. Thank you.
No, you're welcome.
Okay. My Just Mirror Everyone.
Sorry.
Oh, no. I didn't
Okay.
I didn't mean it like that. No, I was just letting people know.
Yes. Okay.
I have realized that when someone says someone is in the 98th percentile or the 2nd percentile, I get confused about which is better. Because in my mind, like if someone's in the 98th percentile for height, I'm like, wait, does that mean, because with kids, they're constantly putting them in percentiles.
That's what I'm thinking about my friends right now.
98th percentile, is that good or is that tall or is that short?
Right.
And it's always something confusing, like your child's head, his head is in the 54th percentile. I'm like, I don't know how to feel about that. But I realized finally why I'm getting confused.
Okay.
Because when I hear 98th percentile, or second, like
yes,
2%, second percentile, which is incredibly low.
Right.
In my mind, I'm like, is that the top 2%?
Right.
That's where I'm getting it all confused.
Okay,
you do the same?
Yeah, because I don't know the answer right now. So you have to tell me.
98th percentile means a bigger head than 98% of these children with heads. Second percentile means 98 of 100 kids have a bigger head. So second percentile is the bottom.
Okay.
And 98 is the top.
So you're racing to 100 always.
When it comes to
percentiles. Okay.
But when it comes to which top 2%, it's all confusing to me.
Yeah. Because you would say, because like we don't say the top 99% when we're talking about like rich people. You know what I mean?
Right.
We say the top 1%, or the top 2%.
Right. But I guess they're in the 99th percentile for billionaires.
Wealth.
Yeah, for wealth.
That is, see, that's why
must we do this?
Why are we changing the scale? Why are we, we're not even changing the scale. We're just inverting it for one thing, which is kids.
Measuring heads.
Yeah. Like, why do
Right.
That's so weird.
Right. Do we say percentile anywhere else? We probably do, but not frequently.
We say percent or percentage, right?
Yeah. I got to look up.
How about is percentile specific to child?
I don't think so. Let's look it up.
Okay. I don't know.
I mean, maybe in terms of usage, but okay. Percentile.
Okay.
Statistics. Each of the 100 equal groups into which population can be divided according to the distribution of values of a particular variable. Each of the 99 intermediate values of a random... The 10th percentile for weight is an example. Yeah, so it's like we're dividing... Well, instead of dividing everyone into 100 equal things, let's just say take 100 kids.
Right.
Whatever. It's confusing.
Yeah. I gotta say, I don't like that you brought that one up.
I'm sorry.
That destroyed me because I just realized, like, as you were bringing it up, I was like, oh no, I don't know this one.
I have a question that goes back to yours.
Okay.
About if you think about not dropping something, you'll drop it.
Yeah.
I mean, the obvious question is like, have you thought about having kids, and are you worried you would drop a kid or even holding someone else's kid?
So we talk about kids, but I think we're gonna foster is what we kind of talked about.
You still got to pick them up sometimes.
Oh yeah, no, for sure. And I'd actually argue that like there's more pressure with a foster kid,
right? Yeah,
your own kid, you just
right.
Tell them not to say anything.
No one's like looking over your shoulder as much.
But no. So I have yet to drop a child, but I also think I'm like so. Like, I know I said I'm like hyper focused on texting, or like when I think about like picking up a water bottle, whatever. Those aren't life or death. I think I genuinely like when I approach a kid, I'm like, so like, here I'm on my way. You know what I mean? Like, so, I really, really, though I'm thinking about it, like, don't drop them. I think I'm more like, because you know that thing where you do like, so I'll pick them up under their arms, and then I put an arm under their little butt, and then I cradle the head. Yeah. I'm worried about, most times when I'm worried about the transition from holding, I'm worried about the transition from holding under their arms to
right, because for a second it's like you're putting all their weight on that one hand.
Exactly, and then you're going to, so that transition, the underarm to butt head transition,
yes.
Freaks me out. And that's where I'm always like, okay, and I'm always afraid that they're going to like adjust and like snap their knee backwards. Yeah. I know that sounds crazy, but like that's the one I have that fear every single time. So it's not, that's where the drop concern, because I do have it, but it's not when I'm like just picking them up. For the first time.
You can kind of, I'm sure you've done this one before, but you can sort of lean them against your shoulder and use that as an extra.
I do a little lean back. Right. I actually lean back from the microphone. I'm sorry. It's important.
No, but it brought it to life. Yes. Yeah.
I do a little lean back, so they've got
something to lean on.
Yeah, and you got a little friction there. You know what I mean?
Right.
So that
unless you're wearing satin.
Yes, which I famously wear around kids.
You should rethink that.
No, it feels like a very cool thing to say out loud and on a podcast forever. I wear satin around kids,
which I famously wear around kids. Oh, hi everyone. 2025 Allison Rosen here to tell you I have an Amazon storefront. I'm kind of a store proprietor. It's amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen. And starting in 2024, unless it was even 2023, I have been soliciting product picks from the guests on my podcast. So I have over 160 items collected in my storefront that people cannot live without. And for each one, you can see who recommended it. How fun is that? It's very fun. You need to check it out. Change your life with these recommendations, or just peruse them. Amazon.com/shop/Allison Rosen. Let's do Podcast Pal product pick.
Podcast Pal's product
Would
pick.
love to hear yours.
Okay. So, for all the Yassir heads out there, they know two things about me. I love whitefish salad, and I love bagels, and I love them together. Now, the place that I'm about to pitch doesn't have whitefish salad yet, but it is the best bagel I've had in like 5 years. It's Ben's Bagels. It's here in LA. You can find them on Instagram at Ben's Bagels LA, I think. But he does like a chili crisp, like red pepper flake sriracha bagel and like a rosemary sea salt bagel, and like his fresh, cinnamon raisin ones are incredible. Like he makes them all in his kitchen with his wife, Sadie, and he delivers them every Sunday. So like,
is this like a home kitchen kind of situation?
Yes,
okay.
Yes. He's addicted to meth. I should say that. He's a drug addict. But no. But I'm not kidding. I had them, and like,
do you have to know someone to order them, or can you just go to the website?
You just go to the website.
Okay.
And Ben is the one who delivers them to you. It was so good that like I genuinely was like, oh, like I haven't had something that I've tasted that like I don't know if you feel this way. I kind of feel like all food right now tastes the same.
I have experienced that before. That's just like a post-COVID thing, honestly.
You think so?
I don't know. Maybe all food is tasting the same.
I just think that like I don't think like a pizza tastes the same as a hamburger. But I'm just saying like no matter.
Oh, like all hamburgers taste the same.
Right
There's
now,
not innovation in the food space.
Right. All pizza kind of tastes the same. All Thai food kind of tastes the same right now. Like I feel like it almost feels like everyone's like sharing recipes or something. You know what I mean? But like this bagel change, like I was just like, oh my God, this is like the first new flavor I've had for something in a very, very, very long time.
And which one specifically was it, or all of them? I
would say weirdly, I want to say all of them, but I'll go with like the chili crisp one. Okay. It really like, think about how many times in your life outside of like a jalapeno cheddar that you're having like a spicy bagel. I
don't think I've ever had one.
It was phenomenal.
Wow.
Ben's Bagels. That's the place it changed me.
And he doesn't do whitefish salad yet.
He doesn't do whitefish salad yet.
Let's talk about the whitefish salad for a second.
Yes, please.
Because when I think whitefish, my brain says pike, whitefish pike.
Okay.
I think I'm thinking of like gefilte fish or whitefish pike.
Right.
I don't even know if whitefish is pike, but like your whitefish salad, like little shards of fish with mayonnaise. Is that okay?
Yeah, sometimes a little bit of dill. Sometimes, but I don't love it when it's onions. But it's mostly just like cooked whitefish whipped up with some mayonnaise, a little bit of dill, and I love it.
Do you have a place that you go to get it?
So up here in the valley, there's a few spots. I think like for just like straight up traditional, I do Arts Deli. On like closer to Hollywood, there's a place called Daughter's Deli, they're owned by another big like bagel place. I can't remember, but phenomenal. It might be my favorite in the city. And then like weirdly enough, like Whole Foods has started selling it, and so like I love like. I don't know what it is, but like whitefish salad and a nice salmon salad, those get me.
Where are you with tuna salad?
So oddly enough,
no, not at all. Not even like an albacore, which is white.
No, because okay. So here's the thing. So like regular tuna fish, like it like I just feel like I can taste the can, and then
it has a metallic taste.
Yes. And then albacore feels like you're trying to trick me into liking something that sucks, but you're like, well, this is the better version of the. Yeah, it's like, but I don't like the first thing. You know what I'm saying? Whereas like whitefish, salmon salad, all those things, like truly, like.
I can't get behind us. I really like salmon tart. Just so fancy.
I really love a salmon tartare.
I really love a salmon tartare, or salmon, but salmon salad. I don't think I've ever had a good one because. I bought the canned canned chunk salmon before though, and that's just like some pink fish with a lot of tiny bones.
Yeah, that's gross. So I would actually suggest this because I do think because I've tried to make it by myself before. I tried to make whitefish salad, and I forgot. Like I bought the fish from the Jewish deli, and I was like, "Is this the one you guys use?" And they're like, "Yes." So I bought it and tried to make it on my own, and I was just like, "There's just like." Someone has to make it for you.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like I just genuinely believe that. And so like here's the thing. The salmon salad that I buy, the whitefish salad that I buy, they could just be using canned whitefish. They could just be using canned salmon. But it's like
but it tastes good.
It tastes good. You know what I'm saying? So I'm just like, look, this ain't for old Yassir to be doing at home. This ain't a DIY.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This is you guys get behind there, do the whitefish salad. So there's I'll tell you off, Mike. There's a really good salmon salad spot 3 blocks from here that I go to all the time. I'll just tell you, Bagel Boss. Have you been to Bagel Boss?
No.
Right here on Magnolia, and it's Magnolia and Ontario.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
God,
It's right.
I feel like
Do you know where the new Lucifer's Pizza is?
I've passed it.
Okay.
A bunch of
Bagel
times.
Boss is the huge bagel shop right next to
Okay.
it. We should go. It's phenomenal.
And they
for salmon
have
salad.
for salmon salad?
Yeah.
Salmon salad prepared the same way as the whitefish salad, basically.
Correct. Yes. Like, you lived in New York. I'm so surprised. Like, you would walk in and just see like mounds of like whitefish salad and salmon salad
Yeah.
in the deli case, and that
I
you
know.
weren't just housing it.
You know what's crazy? I never had a Gray's papaya or even like a street dog when I
Whoa.
lived in New York.
Okay. Interesting.
And I look back on that and I think, at least when I knew I was leaving, I should have
Right.
done all those things.
Yeah. I'll say, like,
Gray's papaya is a famous hot dog spot
Yes.
in New York. And
And
then everyone knows about the hot dogs on the
Yeah.
street too.
and it is like here, it's such a gimmick, and it is delicious. Like, I was like, damn, you got me. You know, the street dog thing. I mean, like, I'd actually argue the street dogs here are like, wait, you know, I don't
Really?
eat bacon, but like when I did, like, 15 years ago or whatever, like, I was like, damn, just like a good grilled hot dog with like fresh bacon. It's greasy, and there's the bell peppers, and the, like, so I really dug that. I don't think New York's touches that. Now, for like their actual like halal carts and stuff, those are good. Though I did see a video.
Mm-mm.
Okay, I won't say.
No. I'm just saying, mm-mm. Like, tell me.
Yeah, okay.
What was it, a rat or something?
No, the halal cart guy was putting out birdseed and then catching pigeons and then cooking them. And someone caught him on video, and it's like this huge thing. It's also, I was like, I
Wait, was he serving the pigeons?
Oh yeah. He was like as like chicken or whatever fried thing.
Oh
he was,
God!
yeah,
I guess actually it is squab, right? Squab.
Is
I
it?
think squab is pigeon. Let's look it up.
Okay.
Tony, if Tony were here,
He'd be doing it.
he'd be looking
He'd
it
be
up.
doing it.
I do think, but still, I imagine that's some different kind. Let's see, squab. Oh God, there's pictures of it, and it's so little. Yep. Oh God, it's a culinary term for a young domestic pigeon, usually under 4 weeks old. Oh my gosh, it's like it's like the veal of pigeons. That's really young. Look how cute it is.
Oh my God, I don't love that.
No, I don't love it either. Okay, well, that's upsetting. And I must admit, I know it's weird where we draw the lines with meat. Because
Yes.
it's but still.
Right.
I mean, we do have to end, but why
Yeah.
do you not eat bacon?
I just like, truth be told, my mom suffered from colon cancer, colorectal cancer, and I kind of stopped. I kind of just like backed off of it right before that anyway, because I saw. Here's the thing:
Is it because pigs are so smart? Because that's how
yes. If you show me a video of an animal being remote, they don't have to be like brilliant. If they're even remotely smart or having a good time, it ruins it for me.
Yeah.
So I saw a video of pigs playing like dogs and like fetching and all that stuff, and I was like, oh, well, there that goes.
Yes, my husband and I we didn't see the video, but we've gone down the same path. I never really liked bacon, so it's not a big loss for me. I do kind of miss ham.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just pigs. They're like way smarter than dogs. They're
Yeah.
more like people.
Yeah. And then I saw a video of these cows a few years later.
Oh, do you not eat beef either?
Yeah, I saw these cows getting released into like a pasture, and they'd been like dairy cows their whole lives, and the way they were mooing and jumping and playing with each other, I was just like, oh damn it!
There goes burgers.
Yeah. And then like chicken, like I don't eat a ton of chicken. I'll do, I do it, but like I don't love it. Turkey, same thing. I'm like, oh God, it just feels.
So you just hate fish.
You know what it is that there's like such a anything else. I feel like I've seen turkeys recently, like wild turkeys recently. I've seen cows recently. It's like, unless you are a fisherman, you are not running into fish. And
Did you not see my fish tank? Sorry, my son's fish tank.
fair, but like I'm not digging my finger in
That's
there.
true.
Like, you know what
Yeah.
I'm saying? So like there's like such a distance that I'm mostly like, here's the thing, I'm not okay with it because like, and this sounds corny too, but like when I eat my meals, I don't bless my food in the way that like God, make sure this food that I'm eating is safe. I bless my food in the sense that I say like, I know something had to die in order for me to eat, so I'm thankful for that sacrifice.
Oh, that's really sweet.
But it's like the only way I can like even remotely justify it, which is so funny because then like I have 2 dogs and just given the chance they'll kill any squirrel they can. You know what I mean? Like I'm like consciousness in this regard is such a curse.
It is. I know.
Like, but then you really think about it, and you're like, animals. When you watch animals in the wild, they are they are killing out of survival. Now, is that survival?
Necessity, right?
Yes, it's to defend themselves or to eat. But that's it. Like a lot of animals don't interact with each other for that reason. They're just hungry or they're being threatened. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. So I really try to like, I don't know, like not adopt that, but like be aware of like, we don't see wolves with like a factory of them like killing a bunch of wild boars. Like, yeah, like we figured it out. You know what I'm saying? So like, I'm just like, dude, what?
Well, we have the capacity to not kill animals. Like animals don't really have in the wild, don't have the option to have like Gardein or something.
Yeah.
So,
but when they get podcasts, then I think they're going to start being like, hey, we shouldn't be eating. We got to stop eating each other, guys.
For them, is that like biting into the apple? Like, the tree of knowledge, will they like gain that level of sentience when someone gives them a microphone?
I know we're like halfway joking about it, but I do believe that sentience is more a byproduct of like the sentience that we experience is more a byproduct of language than it is something that's like in our like brain for real. I think that like because we all share consciousness, like everything is aware that it's alive,
right? It's funny. On a recent episode with Greg Proops, I was saying like, do animals have sentience? And I was trying to figure out like, well, what is sentience exactly? Because obviously there's like something different. Like, do fish have sentience? But anyway, go ahead. Back to what you're saying.
No. Well, here's the thing. To that extent, I do believe so. It's like if you are aware enough to like, I need to eat. I am in danger. I am cold. I am hot. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, these are things that like give you awareness. Like, it would be weird to have that awareness without having an awareness of body and or self. And like, well, people are like, well, it doesn't recognize itself in a mirror. But it's like, yeah, but like a mirror like quite literally looks different
is a distortion
to a dog, than a dog looking at itself and its reflection in a watering hole or whatever. You know what I'm saying? So like I think that once animals figure out some sort of written language or just language as a whole, like organized language, I'll say, because they do communicate with each other, then we're gonna have some hot new podcasts.
I mean, have you seen Wicked?
I did.
It's all about animal. It was not all about animals talking, but that's part of it. Yeah.
Which I found, I found it a little odd because it makes sense and it also doesn't make sense because like they would be like, she's green. So I was like, okay, so we're aware that she is green, but she's like human. She's a green human. But like this talking like peacock who is a doctor. It felt a little crazy to me. Like I was just like how they drew the distinction. Right. I guess it's like quite literally just being like a humanoid of some sort. But like
what? And then there's the Munchkins who are human, but what are they?
Right.
Yeah. So yes, I know. There's a lot of suspension of disbelief.
I'll give you one more hot take.
Okay. Yeah.
Wicked is better than The Substance.
I haven't seen The Substance.
We'll let the listeners.
Should decide. I see The Substance?
I would actually argue. See, there's a movie called A Different Man with Sebastian Stan.
Oh, I like him.
That and The Substance came out the exact same time, and they're extremely similar stories. And I would say A Different Man's the better version of it. I do think The Substance is it's more it's vibes. That movie is vibes, and A Different Man is like a story.
Is it vibes in the place of a story?
Yes, in my opinion.
Interesting.
But people love it. So I like. Here's the thing. I'm wrong about a lot of things, but like it does feel like if the movie to me feels like if David Lynch wrote a movie at a rave. But like
what a lot of David Lynch movies feel like.
But like not a David Lynch rave, just like a regular, just like I don't know.
Now I got to see both of them.
Yeah.
Yassir Lester, this was delightful.
Mama Rosen.
Did you know that Mama Cass didn't like to be called Mama Cass? I went down a Mamas and Papas rabbit hole recently.
Here's the thing. It's not surprising, but like it's a bummer. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can get why someone's like, hey, I'm 25, don't call me mama. And they're like, but because you're kind of big.
Well, yes, but also she's in the Mamas and the Papas. So it just feels like Joey Ramone, you know?
True. Okay. That's a much better. But I think though it had more to do with like her physical appearance. Like
probably because we don't call her like Mama Michelle Phillips, or maybe they did at the time. I don't know.
Yeah,
I think
that's
you're
what
right.
I'm saying. Like,
Well, I'm fine with being called Mama Rosen, so thank you.
But I would argue it's because you look young, and you know what I'm saying. Like I feel like if you were like 6'1" and a moo like I'm like Mama, you're like okay, stop.
Right. Right. Well, thank you very much. This was delightful. This has been a long episode. I had to talk with you about everything.
Oh,
here we are. Tell everyone where they can find you. Do your plugs.
Okay. Instagram.com/Yassir_Lester. Or if you're just searching my name, Yassir, YASSIR_Lester. And then I guess I'll just plug the movie. Yeah, The Gutter is available to rent on all streaming platforms and comes to Hulu on March 4th. So steal someone's password if you don't have it. I genuinely don't care. I will give you mine. Please just watch the movie.
Do you have a live show coming up?
Oh, I do. Sorry. Yes. And then if you were in the Los Angeles area, February 27th at the Hollywood Improv, you can see me and Jay Light and Aaron Dewey Lennox.
Wonderful. And I would be remiss if I did not remind all of you that I have a Patreon. Patreon.com/Allison Rosen. All sorts of great stuff over there. You can get episodes of The Friend Zone. I'm going to pester Mr. Lester to come on my Patreon Friend Zone. Yes. That is the episode where people can ask, like, send in questions for you and stuff like that.
Yes.
It's as informal as this was. It's even more informal.
Whoa.
I know. If you can't even believe it.
Right.
So you can get episodes of The Friend Zone. There's a level where you can text me and I'll text you back. And I've been doing daily text updates. And my life is crazy right now. So the text updates are like a lot of details about the craziness, which people are loving. So it's a soap opera. Get on that. Get into that.
Can they text you back?
Yeah.
Whoa.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
Do you know Community?
I don't.
You know how, like, people like Whitney Cummings, let's say, or I don't know, I feel like Amy Schumer is like, text me, and they'll put a number.
Oh, yeah.
It's that.
Gotcha.
So it's a service that I pay for, but they give me, but I don't give the number out publicly. I only give it to people to a certain Patreon level.
Right.
Yeah. And it's super fun and it's nice. And I have tons of close friends.
I love that.
And also I'm on Substack. AllisonRosen.substack.com. I write about all sorts of stuff over there. And everything else, just go to AllisonRosen.com.
There we go.
Or
you can also go to is Allison Rosen is your new best friend also?
I can't remember if that redirects to AllisonRosen.com or if I never set that up. I think it might.
What was the other one that
Allison Rosen show.
Allison Rosen.
But nothing's happening on that one.
But it doesn't redirect.
No.
Okay.
It just can't. It can't be used by someone who has nefarious ideas about it.
Gotcha.
Or just wants to use it. It just can't be.
Yeah.
I've parked it. This has been delightful. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Listeners, thank you for listening. I love you. You matter. Goodbye.
Yes.
Hey, do you know about the Allison Rosen Show? We had a good time, but now we gotta go. Yeah, Allison Rosen is your new best friend.